Hey, everybody, it's Dr. Angela Cudger with Legacy Holistic Health Institute. And tonight we are going to continue our conversation with the law of correspondence. So if you're on here, as soon as you jump on here, whether you're on Instagram, whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or some other place that we're going live, we're continuing our series with the law of correspondence. And we're going to be talking about matters of the heart tonight is well. So as soon as you can hear me and see me, let me know that you can do that. Hey, I LMA loving me. Hey Leslie, what's up? Hey Naima, thank you for being here. If you're over on Facebook, let me know that you can hear me, you can see me. Hey Sunflower, thank you for tuning in again tonight. We're going to be going over the law of correspondence. We are continuing our series on the universal laws of success. And if you're on IG, know that we have slides over on Facebook, LinkedIn, as well as YouTube where we're live. Also, if you want to see the slides and be a part of the conversation, you can definitely go to legacywellnesstribe.com and it will drop right into that Facebook group. And let me see here, right into that Facebook group and allow you to be a part of the conversation. Good evening to you guys. Hello, hello, hello. Let me know that you can hear me, you can see me, and I'm going to jump into the content. We're continuing our conversation on the universal laws of success. We have covered the law of vibration, the law of attraction, the law of rhythm, and we have also covered of quite a few of the laws. We still have quite a few more to go. Hey, good evening, Andrea. Good evening to you, Marie Keene. As soon as you guys jump on here, also, please share this out, right? One of the things that people find, she said she can hear me and see me. Excellent. So please share this out and then type shared in the comments. Now, really quickly before we drop into the content, as always, as a reminder, the first thing I want you guys to be aware of is that as we go through this series, we are also making sure that people get the support that they need. So if you want me to text you, if you want me to send you affirmations every day as we go through these universal laws to start to raise your vibration, if you want recipe cards with high energetic foods sent to your cell phone so that you've got these in digital format for yourself, please, 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 in addition to the daily affirmations, the recipe cards, wellness hacks, all kinds of things like that. If you want that, you can text hashtag legacy to 404-738-6301. 404-738-6301. And for those of you who have already texted in this past week, you don't have to text back. I actually make sure that I check on individuals. This is not a group text, okay? This is not a group text, all right? So you can text me directly at this number, hashtag legacy, and it will give you my contact information so that you can keep it in your cell phone and then start to get these great things from me as we learn these universal laws. Okay, next thing I want you guys to know is that enrollment is open for cohort 33. Oh my God. If you are not aware of the fact that your health and your wellness is an intuitive guiding system for your life and for your family's lives, then you want to make sure you understand how this works, right? Being healthy, fit, and well is not just a status symbol nowadays. It is also the way that we access hidden information in our minds and in our bodies and in our DNA. Some of us carry some incredibly sacred information that is only unlocked when we are at our healthiest, when we are at our best, and when we are supporting our families and friends to be able to do this as well. Legacy Holistic Health Institute blends traditional medicine with holistic health and wellness, and we bridge that gap. So if you've got people in your family that need this information and you don't have access to a well-trained health coach, you're probably the one that should be it, or you're probably the one that needs to find out who should be the person in your family. You can come to us. We have grants available for cohort 33. After cohort 33, these grants will not be available. To date, we've given away over $500,000 in scholarships, grants, and rebates for individuals to get this information and have it available for their families. Don't miss out. So cohort 33 is open and the calendar for that fills up fast. You can go to discoverlegacy.info. That's discoverlegacy.info. All right, you guys, enough of that. Let's jump into the content. So when we're looking at this, When we're talking about what universal laws are, if you are not familiar with universal laws, you need to understand that universal laws very, very similar to the law of gravity. You step off a building in New York, gravity's going to take hold, right? We intuitively know that gravity takes hold if we're going to do something. We throw a ball up into the air, gravity takes hold. We know that ball or whatever it is we throw up in the air is coming back down. We intuitively know these things. That is the same for the universal laws. And these laws govern our success while we're here on this planet. We will be covering, we've already covered the law of vibration. We've already covered the law of attraction. We will cover the law of divine oneness tomorrow. All right. And then we're going to cover the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. There's no beginning, no end. Everything continues to be transmuted into a different form. I'm going to share with you how you can begin to do that. We've covered the law of cause and effect, which is the grandfather of all universal laws. Everything we do, we intuitively know the result we already want. So we're already acting in the cause of the effect that we're looking to have. And so with anywhere we find major, massive, consistent success, you will always find someone living inside of these laws. Always. We cover the law of rhythm, which is why you should never count yourself out. We know that on this planet and in this universe, everything ebbs and flows. There will be peaks, there will be valleys, there will be high tides in our life, there will be low tides in our life, okay? We covered this. You should never count yourself out. We should never count ourselves out because a peak is coming. A high tide season for all of us is coming. And it doesn't matter who you know and how successful they are, they still have peaks and valleys. They still have high tides and low tides. That is universal law. That is the law of rhythm. Our peak and our high tide, we are the ones who turn the tide by staying in the law of inspired action. We're going to cover that law as well. We're going to cover the law of polarity, the law of gender. And then we covered the law of compensation last night. If you don't know how universal law governs your money, make sure you go back and you watch that one as well so that you understand how to be compensated if you're a huge giver and you've given away a lot and you want to now be compensated, okay? So let me know that you understand this and you got a grasp on the laws that we're gonna cover. Say if you're ready for us to cover the law of correspondence in the comments, type I'm ready. Let me know that you guys are ready, okay? Good evening to you, Vivian. Good evening to you, Sheila. Thank you for putting that in the chat. Discoverlegacy.info. Grants are available for cohort 33 only. Great evening, Miss Johnson. Thank you for being here. Someone says, I need to be compensated. I know that's right. Someone else says, I'm ready. All right, let's jump into the laws, you guys. I'm ready. I'm so ready. Okay. I am ready. I am ready. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into the law of correspondence. I love the law of correspondence. We hear people talking about the law of correspondence all the time. Before we get into that, the only other thing I want you to know is that universal laws are unchanging, right? They are unchanging. They are unchanging. They are immutable. They don't care who we are. If we leave this planet and go to Mars, if we leave this planet and go to Jupiter, if we're still in this solar system, that's still in this universe, these laws are still going to govern us, okay? These laws are still going to be a huge part of our life. And so the thing we have to understand is that when it comes to the law of correspondence, the law of correspondence says that what happens around us is always a reflection of what's actually happening within us, right? Whatever is happening around us is always in correspondence and in a direct reflection of what is happening within us. Okay, so this is we're going to talk about matters of the heart tonight. Is it okay if we talk about that? Can you guys let me know that if we talk a little bit about matters of the heart tonight, the people that we love, the relationships that we have. Can we talk about that? Let me know if we can talk about that. We're going to cover how this affects your health, wealth, and destiny, right? We're going to cover that because that's what people voted on for us to cover when we voted in our group, right? And we voted on that, right? And so I want to talk a little bit about the matters of the heart. Matters of the heart, right? And so thank you for tagging her here. I appreciate that on IG. All right. So she said, let's talk. They said, let's just chat about that. Let's have a little conversation about matters of the heart tonight when we're talking about the law of correspondence, because it's important that we understand that we're not just responsible for the energy that we allow around us, because it reflects what's going to come through us and what will eventually be within us, but we also are responsible for the energy that we put out to other people and what they receive from us, right? So we're going to talk about that tonight. All right. Law of correspondence, okay? What happens around us is a direct reflection of what is happening within us. And we're going to also talk about how you can start to shift this, because that's the whole point, right? To learn a little bit about, like, how do I get better? How do I attract better, right? We talked a little bit about this, about raising your use value last night, right? And how value corresponds to cash value, right? The value that you create within yourself responds to the cash value that the universe wants to pay out to you as a result of your knowledge, your skills, your ability, and you getting better at what you do. And so this law, you probably always heard it. When you hear as above, so below, as within, so without, they are talking about the law of correspondence. They are always talking about the law of correspondence. As above, so below, as within, so without. So mote it be, and so it is. So you'll see someone that is speaking from the heart and asking the universe to then surround them with the same energy that is coming from within them. Okay? So when we're looking at this, right? The universe is contained within all of us, within all of us. Now, we can go to churches, we can go to synagogues, we can go to temples, we can go to whatever, you guys. We can go to all kinds of places that are external, but there is a God presence that resides with you always. There is a divine presence, a sacred divine presence that is always with you, that is always with all of us. Okay. This divine presence has only one purpose. We can take it and make all these other purposes and destinies and things we want to do out of it. But this divine presence that resides with us all the time only has one purpose. And that purpose is to express itself through us, to have us, right, go to the edge of who we truly are, to have us stretch out our imagination and allow this godlike presence within us to experience all that it can, to be fulfilled in every way, every desire it possibly can. There is no thought process too big for this presence within you to hold. There is nothing that this presence will allow you to experience that will be too good to last. It only seeks to stretch out in you. It only seeks to take all of your cells, every piece of matter that you are, and express its genius, its beauty, its ability through you. That is why a lot of people refer to their physical bodies as their temples. The better we eat, the more we move, the more we hydrate, this God-like presence and its ability to be seen and express itself through us shines even more. We activate it not just through the portals that open on the planet. We activate it by what we eat. We activate it by the people who we're around. We activate it by the way that we think. This is the law of correspondence. And so if we know, I want you to understand this tonight. If we know that there's this all-seeing, all-knowing, great ability, sacred ability that is always with us, why do we do bad stuff? Why do we think bad things? If the only reason it is with us is to express our highest and greatest truth, we must ask, if we're not experiencing the life that we love, right? Experiencing the opportunities that we dream about, experiencing the greatest thing that we ever could, if we are not, we must ask ourselves, what is warring within me that will not allow this divine, sacred, incredible, all-knowing thing to express itself through me? Why can't I have all that I've ever dreamed of? What in me is stopping that? Because the law of correspondence says, if this is what is within you, then everything pouring from you must say, I am here to express who I am. I am here to be exactly what I'm supposed to be. And I am not here to compare myself to anyone else, because God's expression through her or him is going to be different from the expression through me. That's why we all have different fingerprints. That's why we all get to wear our hair differently. That's why we all get to dress our bodies differently. I love these bodies that we're in. That's why we all get to do that. We're not supposed to look like everyone else. Divine expression wants you to look different. Divine expression wants you to change your look. It wants to be different this year than it was last year. It wants to see you grow. It wants to see you be more divine, more sacred, more imaginative, more creative. It wants to see you do all of these things. It wants a front row seat to your expression of bliss. That is the only reason that this divine energy exists with you, that this God-like presence is within you. This is why you'll also hear people say the church is within me. My body is the temple, right? This expression, this is where this comes from. So when we're talking about the law of correspondence, and we're talking about the universe being contained within us, right? And we're talking about how this works for us and how we can get this to work for us, we understand that all of life is a reflection. All of life is a reflection. If we are living in a state that lacks, if we are living in a state that is not rich, right? And not only, let me say this really quick before I forget, right? Not only is the universe living and contained within us, imagine yourself. So you got this incredible, grand, God-like being with you all the time. And then in addition to that, this air you're floating in, it's just formless substance that whatever your thought goes forward in, out into these ethers, it becomes something, right? Your thought just it starts to turn into matter. So when we think about this, we have this God-like thing with us that wants to express all of this divine beauty and everything we could ever imagine through us. And then we're floating in this formless substance that we can create anything we want to out of. Why then do we choose lack? Why then do we choose depression? Why then do we choose anxiety? Why then do we choose the things that do not bring us our greatest and highest expression that is straight from God, that is straight from the universe? Why then do we do this? Why? This is what the law of correspondence teaches us. Law of correspondence teaches us that where we find that we are lacking, or where we find that we are not getting what we want, there is something within us stifling this God-like expression. And the evidence of that is all around us. We won't get the reflection of riches back to us if we don't think or feel towards a richer, fuller life, or we don't have the desire to express this richer, fuller, more abundant life, right? And so The current reality, I should say reality, is a reflection of how we actually felt in the past. And so remember, I told you guys last night when we were talking about the law that we covered last night, one of the things that I told you guys was that when we're looking at what we want to express in terms of compensation, we have to be clear that what we're putting out, right, especially for these big givers on here, right, we have to be clear that in whatever we're putting out, we're changing the currents, right? We're shifting the current to say, this is really what I'm reflecting in me. I want to be selfless. I don't want to earn money for what I do. If I did, everything in me would exude, I don't do anything for free. Everything in me, everything about me would exude, I ain't free. I come with a price tag and it ain't $0.99. Everything in me would exude that. People would stop and come to you and say, how much do you charge? They would never assume that they can dump out onto your energy. Everything from within you would value this godlike ability to express this. And here's what I'm going to say. Here's what I'm going to say, because there's some people that are going to come back and they're going to say, well, I feel like we should be volunteering. Well, I feel like you can. I think there is a time and a place for that. You can. I volunteered all my life. I still do in a lot of different ways. I give a lot of stuff away. As a matter of fact, that's how I make a hole to bring in more stuff, bring in better stuff, bring in higher quality stuff. That vibration for me is over. I'm willing to empty out my entire house to bring in new stuff. That's me, right? I'm willing to change my entire wardrobe and donate everything that I have to homeless shelters, to women who can use these things, right? And so it really just depends on how you want to express yourself. I understand that I am floating in this inexhaustible rich substance to be able to manifest anything that I choose to. So it doesn't help me at all to hold on to last season's things. Why would I do that when there's more where that came from? When every day someone else is thinking of new styles to be invented. When every day someone else is building different kinds of houses. Someone else is stretching out their expression to create all these new things that all of us can enjoy. So why then would I choose to hold on to something that's old if I'm choosing another frequency, right? And so we have to make sure that who we are inside is aligning with how we want to be treated. If you're not being treated the way you want to be treated, and this is why we're going to talk about matters of the heart, something in you is saying, please treat me this way. And this might be hard for some people to swallow. Something in you is exuding, please treat me this way. I don't know any better. Treat me this way until I understand better, until I reflect better, and this beacon no longer calls you or anyone like you, right? And so one of the things that we have to keep in mind is that when we're living, and this is why you should volunteer doing other things, but where we talked about this in the law of compensation, where you are gifted and where you are good. That is where your wealth aligns. That is where it's easier for you to raise your use value, for the universe to pour out to you in cash value, right? We talked about this last night, and if you missed the law of compensation, go back and watch that video, because it's very important, especially if you're out here giving your gift away for free. You can do something else for free, but where you are gifted and where you are good, that should not be free. There's so many other talents within all of us. How many of you can point out more than one talent that you have? More than one thing that you say you're good at? And you may not be gifted at that thing. If in the comments say me, I have more than one talent. If you have more than one gift, say I have more than one gift. Some people have several gifts. They can sing, they can play several instruments, they know how to paint, they know how to teach courses, they are a great homemaker. They have a lot of different things that they know how to do, right? The thing that brings you money does not have to be free. The thing that costs you the most, the thing that you do the most from your heart center does not have to be free. It does not have to be free. It does not. And dare I say, it should not be free. It should not be free. I'm sorry, it should not be free, right? And so, one of the things that we want to be aware of when we're looking at this is this law puts us in a cycle of repeating the same lessons over and over again until we change our emotions. This is why when you do heart-centered work, your heart-centered work is tied to your wealth, your ability to gain wealth, right? And so when you're not doing what you need to do, the only way you can express this freely without being stifled, without then having to come back and say, man, I should have charged for that, right? And we've all done it. I've done it, right? We've all done it, but we're going to keep getting those lessons until we feel heart-centered and we feel bold enough to say, no, in order for me to do this with my whole heart in it, this is my price. I won't do it for less than that because this is coming from my whole being. This is a part of my highest and greatest expression. I cannot do it for less than this, right? Because once you get me, for example, once you get me in a retreat setting, I cannot hold back. You're going to get what you need to change your life in that retreat. Mine aren't cheap. It will never be in the hundreds. It just isn't. My use value is way too high. It is way too high. And I know that in order for me to do what I need to do from the heart, and you too, we absolutely must charge our worth. That is the law of compensation. Anytime we're not inside of that law, everything starts to break down. And we keep getting people reflected back to us that expect more from us, than we can get. And so another thing we want to look at when we're looking at this is your emotions and how you feel. So the moment you feel like something is out of alignment with the way that you're sharing your gift, the moment you feel like something is out of alignment, that is the moment for you to stop and say, wait a second, I'm living outside of the law. The law says that I've raised my use value. And so what I need to do is make sure this matches my cash value. And then you need to also say, what am I feeling, right? You're going to get a series of questions to ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Do I feel like I'm not getting what it is I need to be able to express myself the greatest way through this? Do I feel like I'm getting what I need here? And if the answer is no, you don't have to walk away and cut ties. The answer is to then go back. Remember, I told you guys with the law of compensation, the answer is, let me go back to this person and say, hey, I feel like this. So is there a way for us to meet in the middle and do this? You don't have to walk away, and you certainly don't have to do it for free. Okay. And so when we do that, remember I told you, when we take a different step, we disrupt the current. We disrupt the current vibration, the frequency that we're on, so that we can step up to another frequency. And then it allows our life to kind of settle into that new frequency. You'll start to get the evidence of other people around you feeling and doing the same. You'll start to get the evidence of people coming to you you'll start getting it mirrored back to you. That is this law. That's the law of correspondence. You'll start to get it mirrored back to you, right? He says, yes, this is what I tell my girls. It doesn't matter who even if it's family. Yeah. The price is the price, right? And so we want to make sure that we understand how this law works. There are a lot of people who live outside of this law, the law of correspondence, when it comes to relationship and when it comes to love. And in many cases, when there is deeper work done, there needs to be deeper work done with the law of correspondence, and we'll talk about that before I get off. But there is the law of correspondence makes you go inside, because the origin of what's being reflected back to you is what's within you. The origin of what's being reflected back to you is what's in you. Everyone is your mirror. Everyone is your mirror. Every single person is your mirror. So if you don't like what's being reflected back to you, check yourself. Check yourself. That's the only way it can be fixed. It is law. It is law. Everyone is a mirror of you. So if people are coming to you saying, oh, I need you to do this. No, and you can't say no. Oh, I need you to do this, and you can't say no. Oh, and I can't believe you said no. I really feel bad. That's really not my problem. No is a complete sentence in my book. And unless I truly love you, you ain't getting an explanation. It's a complete sentence to me. That's the vibration I'm on. Because my mind is constantly knowing that the moment I let you into my head, I got to reflect that foolishness back to me. The moment I feel like I've got to explain something, the moment I feel like I've got to make somebody understand who I am, make someone accept who I am, that's a different vibration that I don't condone. It's not one that makes my heart happy. And so the moment I get an opportunity to get out of the presence of that person, I'm quick. I move quick. I move on quickly. This is also another reason why I don't backtrack to relationships. None of that feels right to me. That's just me personally. Listen, I have a motto: the past has nothing new to say. There's billions of people on the planet. And even if only 1% of them are head over heels in love for you, go get that 1%, baby. That's still millions of people. Why would we waste our time in the presence of people who just don't align with us? And if for some reason I'm compelled to go back, that is where that is not a bad thing. Hold up. It's not a bad thing. If anything, it gives us the evidence of where the healing may need to happen. It gives us the evidence of why am I compelled to go back to something that I know does not align with me. Because they got one attribute that's great. Bye. Like, because they nice. Okay, they're a nice girl. They're a nice guy. They're not my girl. They're not my guy. So let's move on. It's okay. Exodus precedes expansion. It's okay. The moment we start to let go and we understand that we live in this inexhaustible rich substance, why would we hold on to people, places, experiences, things, doctrines that we know don't reflect back the wealth and the riches that the divine wants to pour out of us? Right? And so I want us to understand this law of correspondence tonight, because the law of correspondence is the reason why people are broke and broken, especially if you're a person of color or you're a Black and brown person, where there's so much doctrine in your family. You learn doctrine before you can walk, right? You're reciting things that lock down your throat, third eye, and crown chakras, right? You're already locked into those things before you're 5 years old. That's hard to release by the time you're an adult. And you keep getting these mirrors of this lockdown all over your life, all throughout your life. That is not easy to release. But the law of correspondence says that you, and the law of rhythm says that your peak is coming. Your high tide is coming. And when it does, what do you want? What do you want reflected back to you? You are every day waking up, breathing this inexhaustible, rich substance to change the current of the life that you live in. Why would we stay stagnant in any way? In any way, right? I'm gonna run to the comments really quickly. And so if you're on IG, real quickly, if you're on IG, we're over on Facebook in legacywellnesstribe.com. It'll drop you right into the group so that you can see the slides and follow along with the conversation over there. If you love being over here on IG, you can do that too. I'm going to leave this screen up so you guys can get the information. I am reading and paraphrasing the information from the slides, but just know there's more information on the screen on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube as well. So if you want to go and get a different experience, you can do that, or you guys can stay right here, however you choose to share time and space with me. Everyone is our mirror, someone says on Facebook, right? Someone else says facts. Someone says yes. Someone says don't go backwards. The past has nothing new to say. The past has nothing new to say. And every single time you go back, they saying the same old stuff. The past has nothing new to say. And all you've done is sat in that vibration for it to be mirrored back to you again. You got to learn that lesson. Got to learn that lesson, right? Move on quickly, right? Move on quickly. And someone else says, oh, I so agree from time I started dating. I refuse to go backwards. It's too many people. It's just too many people on the planet. Why would we backtrack, right? Someone says real talk, right? And someone else says, this is what was revealed to me. This is what was revealed to me. Yes. Someone says, break those chains, follow what's best for you, not what you've seen or learned in your childhood. You got to get on your own frequency, right? Remember, I told you guys at the start of this live stream that the universe is contained within all of us. And the universe wants to express itself through me differently than it wants to express itself through you or your mom or your son or your daughter or your aunt or your cousin or your brother, your sister, your grandmother, right? The universe is like, I've got so much I want to express. God wants to express so much. Why would he make us all the same? Why would he make all of us think and believe the same thing? When we think about it, it just doesn't really make much sense, does it? Right? And we also understand, here's the evidence of that. The more creative this planet becomes, the more happier people become. If you don't believe me, if you were to go outside and there were choirs singing on the street and they were performing or dancing in a creative way, you naturally would tune in. Why do you think everybody's TikTok dancing and doing all of this other stuff, right? Creative expression. That's all. Whether we like it or agree with it, or it's not how I express myself, but it still is an outlet for creative expression that people get to choose to use. The more creative this earth gets, the more the divine gets to express itself through us, the more each of us get an opportunity to see what we can have, what we can be. And then it's up to us to then allow this to be in our form, in who we are. And if there's something in us that constantly rejects advancement, that consistently rejects expansion, there is the evidence. The emotion behind the rejection of it is our evidence that some healing needs to occur. That some healing needs to occur. Some inner work needs to occur, right? Something needs to happen, right? Same old stuff. They ain't never got nothing new to say. I don't know one that I've even remotely thought this. I was like, oh, let me put that back on block, right? Let me block that back down. Yep, nothing's changed. Same old, right? Same old frequency. And they can't really have a new frequency with you because they've never experienced that kind of frequency with you, right? So real quick, I'm going to go over these things on the slides, and then we're going to talk a little bit about matters of the heart and how do we draw in, a sister circle that supports us, right? How do we draw in a divine lover that is incredible, or the energy of our own lover or the person that is already with us to be able to raise itself up and understand who we are, or be willing to say, I can't be this. Your frequency has changed. And so should your partnership. So should your life. I think that I'm not going to say that. I'll talk about that later, because I feel like some people are going to feel some kind of way about that. Anyway, let me just cover what's on the screen to stay on track. If we do not approve of our external circumstances, we can always change them. The law of correspondence works both ways. When you get this thing mirrored back to you, if you see something, if you're looking in the mirror and you see something wrong with your reflection, meaning you got a spot of food on your face, you got some water that's been splashed on your face, you can reach up you can do something, you can take action, some form of action to then change the reflection. You can wipe the water away, you can remove the spot of food, you can do whatever. But the law of correspondence also works that way. When we're looking at what's being reflected back to us, we can also shift that. We get the opportunity to also shift that, right? And so we want to make sure that we understand that when we use this law as a mirror to expose ourselves to what we're experiencing on the inside. So we don't run away from what we feel like we see. Never. You don't, if you see water on your face in the mirror, you don't run away from the mirror. You don't throw the whole mirror away. You first think, you intuitively kind of just reach up and take action. It's the same way with the law of correspondence. And it's in every area of your life, whether it's your personal finances, intellectual ability, right? Anything, social circles, anything can be changed. It can be shifted. Okay. And then you have all of the universe living within you to imagine and stretch out its imagination and creative ability to determine what you want, to be what you want. And then you're floating in this inexhaustible rich substance that will change, that will make matter what you want it to be. So you don't have to be stifled in taking action and moving on. Okay. And then it says, whatever you think the world is withholding from you, you are withholding from the world. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Whatever you think the world is keeping from you, your ability to be creative and express yourself in this way, you are already keeping that from the world. I don't care if it's money, whatever you think is that you're locked out of, whatever you think is being held up from you, your ability to use it properly and creatively express it and not stifle its progress or its ability to be progressive and expressive, you're withholding it from the world. It cannot reflect back to you what you don't reflect out your need or use for. Whatever you're withholding from the world, whatever the world's withholding from you or what you think it's withholding from you, you are also withholding from it. That's the law of correspondence, right? And so it says toxic people and situations are the best teachers. Toxic people and toxic situations are the best teachers of our mirror. Toxic people and situations are the best. I have girlfriends that haven't dated in a while, and they'll say, I'm going to put myself out there to see what this reflection is like. I already understand this kind of talk when they say this. Okay, great. Go see what you're working with. Go see what's coming back. Go see what's coming back to you. Go see what's being reflected back to you. Because sometimes there's work that needs to be done and we don't know that work needs to be done until we're triggered. Right? I was triggered recently, but until we're triggered, we don't know that there's work that needs to be done around that. And I had to sit with that. I was like, man, I thought I had done enough work around this. I thought I had done enough work around this, but I have not. I'm in a valley with that thing. But the peak season is coming for me because I'm going to do the inner work and I'm going to turn it around and make it a peak season for me. I know the law. I know what my ability is. And I know that if I choose to sit with that, to sit in that valley for a while to determine fully what I need to heal and my best course forward, because that's what the valley is for. It's for learning. Then I know how to turn the tides. And I know how to fix that thing, right? If it is something that I want to fix at all. Otherwise, I can't move forward and complain about it, because anything being reflected back to me is self-inflicted. No one's going to take pity on me. Anything being reflected back to me is self-inflicted. I already know that this is triggering. I already know that work needs to be done around it. Now, if I don't choose to sit down and take some space to heal and let everyone in support of me know that this is how I feel when this is done to me. You may not mean anything by it, but this is how I feel when this is done to me. It's not you, it's me. And I understand I need to take some time around that. I'm just letting you know, right? So that if you love me, you won't trigger me. You'll understand, yes, she's got some work to do around that. I'm not going to trigger her. And I'm going to show her that she is truly loved and supported. That's how this works. So when I have girlfriends that are like, yes, I'm going to step back out there just to see what I attract, just to see how I'm vibing. And if they don't like it, boom, they go back inside. I'm not dating nobody. I'm not seeing nobody, because it's not that I can't with honesty say it's only trash in the dating pool, men and women. I can't. If I'm saying that, what am I saying about myself? Based on what I'm drawing in. If I say that everyone out here is playing games, everyone's trying to live off you, everyone's just trying to sleep with you, everyone's just trying to satisfy their own physical needs, what does that say about me? What does that say about me? If that's all that's being reflected back to me, what does that say about me? Out of all of the billions of people on the planet, you cannot tell me that no one wants love. You cannot tell me that no one wants delicious, blissful commitments. It is a lie. And anybody who tells themselves that is lying to themselves. They are lying. You don't want it. Say it like it is. Call it like it is. And until you want it, you can't have it. That is the law. So if you don't like what you're receiving, if you don't like what you're putting out there, maybe it's not your standards you need to raise, it's your vibration. Maybe you need to check your heels, leave those at home. Check your vibe before you go out. Check that mirror before you go out. Not for your lashes, sis. Not for your haircut, brother. Right? Check something else. If you don't like what you're attracting, what does it say about you? This doesn't work any other way. You can tell yourself that it does, but I can promise you, this universal laws are intuitive. You know deep down inside it don't work no other way. You know good and well it's you. People are living blissfully and getting married and having incredible relationships all day, every day. It's you. It's definitely you. And we have to be honest enough to say that. We have to be honest enough with ourselves to say, I gotta change something. If it's me, what do I change? Right? Run to the comments really quickly. Someone says, wait a minute, that's a whole word, right? Someone else says, turn it around. We absolutely can. Do the inner work. We have to do inner work. Someone else says, yes, ma'am, I was triggered and I killed them with kindness. No need to stoop to their level. And you disrupted any of that ever being reflected back to you. That's what you did. And the more you do that, you will consistently disrupt that structure and dismantle it and say, I don't live there. I live in a different space. I live on a different vibration. And that's how I act. That's how I carry myself. That's just the way it is. Right. And so somebody said, it's not you, it's me. Absolutely. We have to be honest enough to say that. We got to be honest enough to say it's not them, it's me. And I'm going to check myself this time around, because this is self-inflicted at this point. Right. Someone says, I refuse to allow anything to break my growth and character, especially because my consequences can affect my children. Absolutely, we have to think about the other people who are attached to us. And someone says, yes, awesome, you are awesome. Someone says, you are awesome, queen. Somebody says, check your vibe. Absolutely. Someone else says, very true. Someone says, you know it's you, right? It doesn't work any other way. So when I hear people tell their dating stories, I just be like, for real? Man, dog. I mean, I don't have anything else to say because I know the law. And I know I need to limit my time around you, because law of correspondence says it's catchy. Law of correspondence says their vibration is catchy. So you need to limit your time. And we're going to talk about that here in just a minute. Someone says, be honest with yourself and say it's self-inflicted and I need to do something about it. First of all, do I even want to do something about it? Some people don't. They like to be able to, they like a little bit of, what do you call it? Conflict within themselves. They get off on conflict. Like they feel like their highest form of expression is creating controversial topics. They like conflict, right? So they're only going to draw people, places, and experiences that give them conflict, that give them issues, right? And that's something that's deep seated, but it's also something that's also self-inflicted. And they have to be able to own up to that. And so this says, it says, if you notice a recurring pattern in your life, focus on changing your reactions in your train of thought, right? Because law of correspondence says what's reflected out, right? What's reflected back to you is based on what's coming from you. And what's coming from you is driven by emotions. This is why heart-centered work should never be free. Work that we're attached to, our emotions are attached to. If you're a philanthropist and your emotions are attached to how you give back, if you are an artist, a singer, a parent, a teacher, a lover, right? A business owner, right? If your work and what you do from your heart is tied to, how you share who you are in the world, it's imperative that when our emotions are tied to it, that we know what we want reflected back to us. We want people to have a rewarding experience when they buy from us. No one ever wants to hear that someone doesn't have a rewarding experience, right? No one ever wants to hear that. And so you're naturally going to hear it because people have their own conflicts and expectations and different things. You're naturally going to hear some of that. Some of it you can fix. A lot of it you probably can't, because people are still going to have their own type of emotions and things that they're reflecting out, right? That they're acting out on, right? They could put you on a pedestal today and you're bottom of the barrel to them tomorrow. That's something with them, not you. That's something with them, not you. And so we want to be cognizant of these things when we're looking at who we are and how we're expressing ourselves in the world. Now, really quickly before we close out, what we feel at any moment is the culmination of our beliefs, the things we're continuously exposing ourselves to. So what we feel at any moment is a culmination of everything we've been exposed to. And this is especially true when it comes to matters of the heart. And this is why people can be triggered when they go on first dates. People can be triggered after they've dated a few times. It's important that we stop and we think and we say, okay, wait a second. What do I really feel about this? How am I really feeling concerning this? As opposed to just, that's not what I want. So that person's gone. Let me move on. I mean, really? Okay. You could have just been triggered. Can we stop for a moment and say that? Right? Right? And so someone else put a good question here. Hey, Christiana, that's my niece, you guys. Everybody say hello to Christiana. She's watching on YouTube. This is my niece. She says, how do we distinguish between what is them and what is a reflection of us? Christiana, I'm going to leave that question up because I'm going to come back and answer it before we get off, okay? And so really quickly, it says, you become the energetic average of the things you choose to surround yourself with. This is why you limit your time with people who are not talking at the vibration that you're at, right? Listen, this is important right here. This is important. How many of you have ever been around someone who is wealthy? And I mean wealthy in connections. They're very well connected. They may have financial wealth, but they're well known, they're wealthy, they're a staple in the community. How many of you, I know we probably got some people on here that are actually like, that's me, right? But how many of you have ever been around someone like this? Say, that's me in the comments, right? That's me in the comments. Say that in the comments, okay? Let me know that, right? Let me know that if you've ever been around someone who is wealthy. They're wealthy in their mind. They're wealthy in the way they think. They're wealthy in the connections they made. They're wealthy. They may be wealthy financially, right? Say, that's me. I've been around someone like that. That's me, right? Someone says, that's me. That's me. Okay. Okay. All right, great. So one of the things that you will always notice about these people is that they have a sense of urgency. Their energy constantly moves. Their energy constantly moves forward. They are constantly in forward motion. right? They don't stick around long enough for anybody's stuff to stick to them. They're living inside of the law. They may not have ever heard about the law of correspondence. They may not even know, depending on who they are, they may not even know how to spell correspondence. They may not know anything about universal law, but they understand that the last time I stayed too long around Uncle Johnny, I started to think like Uncle Johnny and I missed my opportunity. And so they learn to stay in forward motion. They are in constant movement because they understand that you become the energetic average of the things you choose to surround yourself with. You become the energetic average of the people say this all the time in entrepreneurship. If you're around 4 millionaires, you're going to be the fifth. If you're around 4 people that are taking the bus every day, guess what you're going to be doing? Taking the bus every day. If you're around 4 people who always have excuses as to why they can't live their best life, you're going to be the fifth one. If you're around 4 people who don't read books and constantly complain about why being who they are is an issue, you're going to be the fifth one. Got it? You're around 4 people that vibrate high, that are only here to innovate the planet, and that are only here to pour out their gifts and talents and abilities and raise other people up, baby, you're going to be the fifth one. Even if you don't have an idea, even if all you know is like, all my friends are cool, I don't have any ideas like that. Something is coming. Something for you is coming because you are constantly in the vibration and in the energy of people who think, feel, move, and act this way. Right? You're constantly in the energy of that. It is a law. Whether we understand it or not, we intuitively know it. Right? And when it's time to depart, and that brings me to Christiana's question, when it's time to depart, when our energy has shifted, we feel it. We feel it. We feel it. When our energy has shifted, we feel it. We feel it. Okay? And I'm going to give you some questions to ask yourself. This is the time where you need to shift what's happening so that you can then distinguish, Christiana and anyone else on here, you can then distinguish what's theirs and what's mine. What's theirs and what's mine. Got it? Somebody on IG says, oh my God, I just went through this past week, right? So you can distinguish what is their energy trying to come in and what is it I'm reflecting back, right? We feel it, y'all. Universal laws are intuitive. Same way, like I said, if you step off a building in New York, no one's going to catch you. You know your life is probably going to end. You know it before you do it. Law of cause and effect. You know the result you're looking for before you step off the building. This isn't news to anyone. We intuitively know these laws. We intuitively live in these laws because everything about God wants to express itself through us. These laws have to be intuitive so that God can express itself through us in any kind of way. Right? There's no medal or reward for self-sacrifice and martyrdom. There's no reward for that. How can God be expressed through you if all you do is self-sacrifice? That doesn't make sense. When we really think about it, it logically just doesn't make sense. It logically doesn't make any sense, right? When we really kind of sit and think about it, it just doesn't, right? And so the paradox to the law of correspondence is that the things around you influence how you feel, but how you feel can also alter those things. Here it goes, right? So you feel something when that vibration is about to shift and you know you shouldn't be around those people anymore. You know you shouldn't be in that relationship anymore. You know you should limit your time with those places, things, people, and experiences. We feel it, y'all. And then it's up to us. These internal feelings, we have to say, either I'm going to continue to externally project this thing, cause and effect, right? Law of cause and effect, the granddaddy of all universal laws. I'm either going to keep doing this thing to cause this result, or I'm going to move into the law of inspired action and change my life. And I'm going to get moving to change my life, right? And so we want to make sure we practice being grateful and not just a gratitude exercise. A lot of people do a gratitude exercise and their heart's not really in it. I don't want you doing that. I want you to find pockets within your day where things are going incredible for you. And I want you to stop in that moment. And I want you to feel it with the greatest intensity. That's how you be grateful. Not just say, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that. A 5-year-old can do that. And nothing will change. People will still sit in their same lives. But feeling shifts the universe, right? This is why God wants to express itself through you. The universe wants to be uncontained. It wants to express itself through all of us. And when we're thinking about this, we want to make sure that the beingness of this is what we're stepping into. How are you being daily? And even if you say, well, I've just been in a season where I cannot be how and who I want to be for whatever reason, there are pockets. Listen, we said this with the law of rhythm. It cannot possibly rain all day, every day. The sun must come out. The clouds must part at some point. It has to let up. It has to stop, right? I don't think there's anywhere on the planet, there might be, but I don't think there's anywhere on the planet where it rains 24/7 since the beginning of time. That doesn't happen. At some point, even if it's for a brief moment, the rain stops, right? And we have to catch these moments, especially if we're trying to come out of it. That's, you get these pockets within your day so that you can be grateful, right? And in that being part of it, whatever comes up, I don't care if you got a parking spot right in front of the store, stop and feel it. The littlest, tiniest little thing, stop and feel into that. Catch these moments. This is how you be grateful. Don't do these. You can do these gratitude assignments if you want to, but you guys, that doesn't come. The universe is not tricked by that. You're not really feeling that. You're just doing an exercise and say you did it. How are you being grateful? The way you do that is you catch these pockets of inspiration, pockets of moments, right? The first time that you wake up every morning, the first 17 seconds, you have the ability to completely shift your conscious. You have the ability to wipe clean the things that hold you back and step into a new form of consciousness, a new form of being. You get to feel however you want to feel. After about 17 seconds, that's when all your thought processes, subconscious things, stuff you were supposed to do yesterday, the stuff that's supposed to be done today, floods into your head. You only get 17 seconds. One of the things that I've been doing for a long time in those 17 seconds is I train myself to think, God bless this day. Express through me all that can be expressed in the form of joy, bliss, love, light, high energy, great expectations, unshakable faith. Express it through me today. I am grateful. And even if the only bit of gratitude or gratefulness I show is in that moment, that day is blessed, y'all. That day is blessed. And I'm one step closer to being grateful for something else. Because the moment I feel into that and I take that from my heart and I go with it, you guys, it's a domino effect. All other things for me to be grateful for and feel good about start to flood into me. Start to flood to me. Start to flood into me. I don't get up and say, man, I don't really have a lot. I don't really, I only got 17 seconds to be great in the morning. I only got 17 seconds to fill my day with bliss, man. I'm going to take that time. No one's taking that from me. And then I get up and go to the gym. And then I eat. And then I make sure my son is off to school. And then I make sure he has high vibrational words all day, every day. And then I make sure he's in the right mindset. Then I make sure I try to serve everybody that works for me, everybody that's on my team. Keep those people high as well. I know it comes from me, right? I understand that. I know that what I do is not work. It is a work. More is expected from me. So I govern myself accordingly. I cannot stay in the energy or conversation of people, places, and things that don't serve me. I literally don't have the time. It's just unavailable. I am unavailable, right? And so we have to be able to understand this. So really quickly, I'm gonna run to the comments and then I'm gonna go in detail with Christiana's question, and then we're gonna hop off, right? So someone says, what if you're not around many people and struggle connecting with people, high vibration? I am highly introverted. So we can talk about that as well before we get up. I am highly introverted. So when people see me in person, they expect this conversation, or they expect, I don't know what they expect, but I am conversational, but I'm not, you have to almost initiate conversation with me. And it's not because I'm acting funny or anything like that. I'm a feeler. I feel into the environment before I speak or say anything. So I'm just naturally quiet. I'm naturally not going to say a lot, right? And then I'm not going to necessarily say anything that's not fruitful. I'm going to try to be intentional with my words. So as much as I talk on here, I'm not a big talker in person. I'm typically a little bit more reserved and quiet if I can be. And someone says, I feel it. Yes, you get to feel into this. My God, the sun must come out. It absolutely has to. As long as you're on this earth and we got a sun, baby, it's coming out. You're going to see it at some point. Catch those moments. Yes, someone else says, I am learning. I'm so glad. Someone else says 17 seconds. That comes in the morning, and do not let it go by. Do not let it go by. Someone on IG says, yes, I'm a feeler too. Yes. And those of us who are introverted, I have to take time to myself to be able to preserve, not just preserve my energy, but then to fill myself back up. So for the person on here who said, how do you meet people? How do you do things like that? Well, you take these laws and you manifest the circles that you're in, right? Like when people go to the big conferences and events and things like that, I like seeing those on social media, but I'm probably not going to be in the room. Not unless I'm invited, I'm there to speak, I'm there to get something specific. I don't learn that way, right? I do better in business coaching that's done online for specific things. And I think that's one of the things about being pulled away and outside of people's energy and I've been an entrepreneur since 2014. And I would have to say probably about 80% of my time has been spent alone. It's been spent in my home, like to myself, not going out and doing things. I used to be like, well, how am I supposed to connect with people? I have not been kept out of any billionaire circles. I have not been kept from anything. I have all that I need and more than I know what to do with. So it doesn't so you have to be intentional about what you're asking for. What support do you need? And if you've been pulled away and you're disconnected or you feel disconnected, it is a sign that it may be time for you to reconnect. This year is the year that I'm starting to get back out, because this is a 6th year. 2 + 0 + 2 + 2. 6 has the energy of collaboration and connection. And then 7 is a highly spiritual year. You're going to see people go back in next year. You're going to see people locked down in their circles and soul tribes next year. This is the year that they find them. This is the year that they connect and that they get with people, right? And so we have to make sure that we understand this and we honor the seasons and the times that we're in, and so, and still in the circles and different things like that, we still must be specific about what we want and who we want to surround. Some people want to be surrounded by people with flashy and money. And I don't need all that. I need people who are true to themselves, no matter what they have. If they flashy and they cute, great. But I don't necessarily need that for a fruitful relationship. Some people require it, and there's nothing wrong with either one of us, right? And so for my niece, Chrissy, who said, let me find your comment, your thing. She says, how do we distinguish between what is them and what is a reflection of us? Here's how you do that. Here's how you do that, because the law. The law is so within, so without, as above, so below. We understand that law, right? Cause and effect, right? I did this to get that result. Law of rhythm, up, down, right? Peaks, valleys, all this stuff. when we're looking at how do we distinguish what's them and what's us? If it is sitting in front of you, if it has come to you, it's only come to you for two reasons. It's only coming to you for two reasons. Because we're talking about, when we're saying if it's them, we're talking about some kind of characteristic, some type of attitude, some type of thing about that person that they are displaying that we say, I don't identify with that. Is that them or me? Right. And Chrissy, if you're still on here, and anybody else, let me know in the comments if that is what you're talking about. Right. They're coming to us with some kind of something, way of acting, being, speaking, identifying, that makes us say, is it them or me? Let me know that that's what you're talking about. If it came to us, right, it came to us for two reasons. One, because it is us. It is our true reflection, and it is our truth, whether we want to embrace it or not. Or two, it's come to us to help us identify something to determine if that is something we still want to hold on to. So one, it either comes to us because it is our truth and it is the thing that we identify with, or two, it has come to us to test us to determine if we're ready for it, if we're kicking it on that same vibration. Those are the only two reasons those types of people come. And those types of things come to us. And then what we must do, because then when we say, is it them or is it me? When we get into that question in and of itself dictates the fact that we understand that there's a separation between what they're displaying and who we truly are. If that question ever comes up, is it them or is it me? We usually know when it's us, right? I don't know it's something 5-year-olds say to kind of get out of things. Everybody above 5 years old, we know, especially if you're an adult, you always know. You always know. You can kick it like you don't, but we know, right? You know what it is. You know what's up, right? Right? So as it says, universe wants you to make sure you're ready. Make sure you're ready. We know when it's us. Yeah, we know. We can kick it when somebody says, I don't know. Child, that's something 5-year-olds say just to get out of something. Even a 2-year-old knows. That's why they say no. They know how to identify. I don't want to do what you're saying, so I'm saying no. Or a 3-year-old, even they know. 45 years old, 37 years old, 22 years old, baby, you know. You already know. No one needs to tell you. No one needs to tell you, right? No one needs to tell us, right? We know what's up. And so when it comes to this, the fact that we even have this question, is it them or is it me? That's a moment that we're feeling something that we need to identify. And we need to say, okay, let me determine if this has come to test me or if this is the same reflection that I'm compelled to nurture. Is it the same reflection that I'm compelled to nurture? Right? And so when we're looking at this, right? Because I think there's some questions that I want you guys to ask yourself. When we're looking at this, there are a few questions we have to ask ourselves, right? And I'm not going to get into the 9-9 portal or anything like that. You can go back and look at the Law of Rhythm video and the Law of Compensation video if you want to learn more about the portal that opened on 9/9, and that's open for the next 9 days, okay? And you definitely want to catch that. It's on IG as well, but it's everywhere else too. So if you haven't looked at that, go look at it. But that's what, these are some questions we need to ask ourselves. What am I feeling, right? Most of the time, when it comes to this person, this thing, this expression, what am I feeling most of the time when it comes to this person? Because there's people and opportunities and things that we are around that actually may be stifling our expression of who we are. This also happens when you're around someone and you have to constantly overthink things, right? With the law of attraction and vibration that we covered, we talked about the fact that anytime you have a desire, it is this divine consciousness in you seeking expression. So you don't stifle that desire by overthinking it. Should I? Shouldn't I? We tie it Usually when we overthink things, we're tying it to doctrine, something we read, something we're thinking, but we're overthinking it. And that's usually not, we're dropping out of the creative plane. And we're now competing with our mind on whether or not we should be doing what we're doing, right? And so we want to make sure when we're looking at something like this and saying, is it them or is it me? We're clear. Am I going to know, what am I feeling most of the time when this comes up? Because I'm the kind of person, me personally, Dr. Angela Cudger, I don't like revisiting the same stuff. I like new thought. I enjoy new thought. I enjoy new conversation. I enjoy new experiences. I don't necessarily like to be stifled. If I've got to overthink something, I'm going to determine another solution altogether. That's just me, because I know there's an infinite number of ways that I can express myself and create a solution for something and be innovative. So I try not to stifle myself in overthinking and wondering what is going on. Okay. She says that's typically the question I ask myself, or the question of, am I tripping about how this feels? Oh, just ask yourself, what am I feeling most of the time with this? Even if every now and then you feel differently, you have to ask yourself, what am I feeling most of the time, right? What thoughts trigger these emotions? What thoughts in me trigger these emotions, right? How would I like to feel instead? And this is important. I want you to ask you guys, anyone on here that's like in a relationship or anything like that, ask yourself that question. Ask yourself that question. How would I like to feel? Is there something about what's going on in my loving relationship that doesn't feel the best to me? Doesn't matter what it is, right? How would I like to feel about that thing instead? Because the universe can't begin to allow you to express and draw to you the things that you need to feel nurtured and to feel well. The universe can't begin to do that until you answer the question, how do I like to feel about this thing? When I'm being nurtured, when I'm being cared for, when I'm being supported, how do I like to feel? How does that show up for me? Right? And I don't necessarily name the thing that I want done to me or for me. I think about, this is what I want to feel. Because the person who may be expressing that thing to me may express it in a different kind of way. But if the ending is the feeling that I'm looking for, man, that's incredible. And I get to experience something that I've never experienced before. Right? And it can be something as small as a walk in the park. If you've never walked a certain park before, right? All I know is I want to feel the breeze on my face. I want to hear the birds chirping, and I want my mind to be clear. And I want to be in the space of someone who also enjoys this. I want to feel that kind of connection. So then I allow, someone to say, hey, let me take you on a date. Let's go hiking. Amazing. Let's do it. Because it's going to end up being what I want to feel. And I'm not going to overthink it. Oh, what if they're trying to do? I don't even think like that. The likelihood of it happening is probably ain't going to happen. Right? And I'm sure you guys have seen me. I can handle myself. I'll just say that. Right? And so we want to make sure that we understand like where we're growing and where we're stifling ourselves, and just know that, if we're in a relationship and it's something we need to hold on to or release or whatever, we're clear on what we want to do with that. There are billions of people on the planet. Trust me, someone else is out there. There's millions of people that will love you to the core with their whole heart. Millions of them. I would not ever stay with someone who half steps. Ever in this lifetime, ever again. Now that I understand how this law works, I am not afraid to let go. I am not afraid to let go. The sun must come out. Someone else must come along. Someone else will come along. More than likely, in many cases, sooner than you think. And one of the things somebody says, right on. And a couple of things I want you to know: if I am in the company of someone, right, or you see me out in the company of someone, you better know I'm being treated very, very well. Very, very well. Because I'm not going to spend any amount of time in that space. And I can decipher that over the phone. I can decipher energy over the phone. I don't need to go out with anybody to decipher that. I can pick up on your energy in a text, right? I can pick up on your inconsistency in a text. I can pick up on the fact of whether or not you've had a great dating experience or you expect to have a better dating or loving experience from your text message. I'm that keyed in. And I'm quick to say, let me close the loop on this. I think you're great. Expect something absolutely amazing to come your way. But I think we're going to keep this strictly platonic. We're going to keep this one professional. And I don't ever think maybe I lost something. Maybe I missed something. It's too many people on the planet. We've got way too many options at this point. And if I don't want anybody, I can be just as happy and content with myself. Right? As a matter of fact, I say do that first. Because when you're pleased with how you treat you, when you prioritize you, you won't attract anybody who won't. So you don't ever have to overthink whether or not somebody is prioritizing you. We never have to think that. And I think sometimes we jump into other situations, sister circles, girlfriend circles, all of these kinds of things, guy friends, girlfriends, dating, marriage. We do these long-term commitments when in a very short span of time, they showed us who they were. They showed us what they were reflecting back. They showed us that they needed healing and things like that too. And I'm not saying those people who need healing can't connect and do things like that. You want to be able to be clear on this, be able to honor who they are, where they are with what they have. And let me tell you something, even though they will more than likely shift and change and grow because all of us must evolve, where you find them, you don't lock down with a person or a friend or whatever based on potential. Ever, right? We make sure that when we're happy and content with ourselves, that we are accepted in that same way. And if I'm radiating that out, the love that must be reflected back to me is love that prioritizes me, love that allows me to be who I am, the way I am. And even if I never changed, it loved me unconditionally. Because that's what I'm radiating out. That's the love that I have for me. So I could not possibly attract something or someone who would be inconsistent and unloving. They don't even look my way. They don't even speak. They dare not even part their lips. Don't even come my way. Nothing in me sent for you. Nothing. And and even if it does, Christiana, anybody else listening, and is it them or is it me? I don't answer the call. I don't answer to that. I don't answer to that. So we have to be able to, somebody says, I love me some me. I listen, without condition. If I never change, I am in love, head over heels in love with me. So anybody that comes my way is like, oh my God, you're incredible. What fool would let you leave? I don't know, but a lot of them have, right? Because they have their own stuff. And I don't stop them from being who they are. And although my expectations are broken, my heart, I must be clear to protect my heart with the love of myself. And so heartbreak is not something that comes to me easily, right? Heartbreak is not typically something that is going to come to me from like necessarily, not anymore. Back in the day, maybe, but now that I understand the law and how everything works here, it's challenging for a lover to break my heart. My expectations may be broken, but my heart is so very well protected and grounded with such unconditional love for them that although I expected more, they can't break what's in here. They cannot. Now, that's me personally. And I've learned, and I've done a lot of work, done a lot of deep heart work over the years, right? Am I still triggered by certain things? Yes. But because I love myself so deeply, I'm open enough to then have those conversations with whoever triggers me. Can we talk about this for a second? I'm triggered. I'm going to need a moment. And I'm going to own that. And usually the person says, I had no idea it would trigger you, but I love you enough to work with you through it. That's what I want reflected back to me. I won't accept it any other way. And guess what? That's also what I'm willing to give. It's also what I'm willing to give. So we may not do all of the same things. We may not love all of the same things, but vibrationally we're there, you know? And so those are the things that I look at. Everybody's different, right? But we always want to ask ourselves, you know, what thoughts trigger these emotions? How would I like to feel instead? What reflection will these feelings create? And then what could I be doing differently if it is me? Do I need to do some deeper healing work, right? Right. Really quick in the comments, somebody says, thanks for dropping these gems. I needed to hear some of this. I'm glad. Someone else says, millions of people in this world who will love you, millions who are just, will be head over heels, love you unconditionally, right? Zalika says, Ashe. Someone else says, I pick up on energy quick. Oh my God. And someone else says, happy and content with me, happy and content. I was single for almost 2 years. Someone says, yes, 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 talk that talk. Someone else says, I love me some me. Absolutely love yourself unconditionally. And this is the law of correspondence. The universe has to reflect back to you what you are pouring out. So, and watch your words. Like the moment, one of the questions I used to always ask potential suitors is, you know, especially if I meet them on an app, I say, well, how is this app treating you? You know, is everything going, you know, John's way? You know, I'll ask questions like that make it be owned by them, right? And they'll say, well, it's been hard, it's been tough, there's no good matches. Let me close the loop on this. You're not my type, John, because I already see the only thing you intend to draw in is a hard time. The only thing you intend to pull back into you is the challenges of dating. You haven't yet switched your vibration to the solutions and to the beauty that is happening for so many people. And then I just don't respond anymore. That's just me, because they don't need to say anything. They really don't need to say anything else. You know, or they could say, well, I went on a couple dates and they were fine, right? I went on a couple dates and they were fine. Yes, watch your words. Watch your words. The moment they say something like that, man, it's hard out here. There's no good people out here. Woo! Well, keep doing what you've been doing. So let me close the loop on this one. Because I see right now, you got some energy over there that I'm not willing to contend with. I can't contend with it anyway. I'm not the reflection you seek. You know, you're going to find somebody absolutely incredible that matches your vibration. Look for it, because that's what you've been looking for all this time, right? Right? Someone says, when I was dating, if it wasn't for me, I just stopped communicating. I would at least say, hey, you know, I don't think this is a great fit. I appreciate that, you know, and I would move on. But everyone has their way. I don't think there's any right or wrong way. Same thing when relationships end. I think a lot of times when things end, sometimes, and this is another way that we can check ourselves with the law of correspondence, whether it doesn't have to just be loving relationships, y'all. It could be someone moving away and they used to be a best friend. It could be someone, our kids going away to college. It could be anything, right? That where that relationship is shifting, or the dynamics of the closeness of that relationship is shifting, right? This law of correspondence allows us to check ourselves, because one of the things, sometimes we don't necessarily, everything in us doesn't necessarily wish that person well. We want them to be dependent on us. We want them to feel like they had it good when they were with us. A lot of people, a lot of parents do this when their kids go off to college. They want them to do great. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. And they celebrate it somehow But most of the time they're crying as if some great relationship ended instead of celebrating the fact that the energy between you two has shifted and you can now be adults, right? That I've nurtured you and I've poured into you everything that I could, and now you're flying. Let me watch you soar. Why am I crying? Like, why would I maybe I haven't gotten to that point yet. But when I do, it's going to be, I'm celebrating you. I'm not waiting on the phone call for when you need me to be codependent again, right? Or I'm not waiting on you to text me back to be like, let's go date again, right? In the case of a lover that left. No, go on to move on quickly to your next best place. Move on quickly to your next best place. There's a new part of your life that allows that person to now look for and combine with and connect with some of the other billions of people on the planet, right? And we have to then align ourselves with the same. Nothing stays the same. Nothing stays that way. So we got to be mindful of that. We're not sending out this kind of energy to our kids and or to past lovers and things like that, because two things happen. Number one, we can't move forward because of the law of correspondence. We're only going to keep reflecting back in people that must be codependent and fill our need, right? And the love of our lives, the things that bring us the greatest expression from the heart, can't flow in because we got it blocked by wanting to still be and stay and whatever. We can't, it doesn't work that way. So something that I always say when a relationship ends is, you know what? You're going to find somebody that is so aligned and perfect for you. Y'all are going to meet and it's going to be absolutely incredible. And I want you to move on quickly to that. It doesn't matter who ends it. I want you to move on quickly to that, right? Whatever is your next best and highest place, I want that for you because that's what I'm going to. And we both deserve that. That's universal law. Look for it. Welcome it in, right? Let it rush up it to greet you wherever you are. I hope the best and highest for you comes rushing your way and brings you happiness and bliss. Because that's what I'm drawing into myself. What do you think I'm reflecting out to the universe? What do you think is going to come back to me? So instead of me feeling like my heart is broken, it's filled with joy and compassion that you then are going to find what is your next best space. What do you think is going to be then reflected back to me? The same thing, right? The same thing. All right. So really quickly, we're going to run to the comments and then we're getting off, right? Someone says, or anyone that doesn't fit my aura. Yes, indeed. Someone says, okay, we read that when I was 8. Someone else says, don't overlook red flags. Never, never, never. And make people watch their words when they're around you. They don't want an adult relationship because they like being needed. They sure did. A lot of people like being depended on. I'm not even getting into that. They like being depended on, and it's like, well, I've never been nurtured. Well, I've never been poured into. You don't want it. If you wanted it, you'd have it. It's self-inflicted. I'd be like, oh, okay, well, I mean, what you want? I don't really have any say so. I don't have a horse in your race. I mean, I hope everything works out because I know that they're also not ready to understand the law. They intuitively know they haven't had an opportunity to connect with anyone in that way. And anyone that came in trying to do this, to nurture them, to pour into them, they somehow blocked it, stopped it, pushed it away. No, they too controlling. No, they always want to know everything about me. No, they this. Okay, well, I mean, you have the right to refuse. But you're still going to keep getting these people that want to sleep on your couch, use your car, not put gas in it. I've never encountered. Like, let me just not even get into that. Someone else says, I agree. Move on quickly. Yes, to your next best and highest place. Listen, before you hop off this live stream, make sure that you send love and light to somebody, you guys. in this live stream, whether you're watching on IG or you're watching here. Real quick though, as you guys send love and light to someone in the comments, make sure that at the moment you see your name, you send love and light back to someone else. And so the only other thing I'm going to say is, if you want affirmations, if you want digital recipe cards and any of those things, text #affirm. You will get an affirmation from me tonight concerning the law of correspondence, right? You want an affirmation, you want morning affirmations in your first 17 seconds of wake up. I promise not to be too early. Text #affirm to that number, and I will make sure that you get it. If you want these slides, I'm not going to send them out every single time I teach. At the end of this series, you will get a link with a folder with all 12 sets of slides so you can go back and study this information and have it for yourself. Okay, so text #affirm and hashtag must be in front of it so that you can actually put it, so that it can actually drop you into our system. Okay, and then from there I'll be directly connected to you personally, and then you'll get text messages directly from me. Okay. Love and light in the comments. I'm just trying to look over and see the banner. Type love and light in the comments, you guys, and then we're gonna jump off. We're gonna hop off. Listen, tomorrow we're gonna be sharing and talking about the law of divine oneness, how we are all connected here, okay, and how we are on this planet, this divine collective, and what happens when we are in retreat settings and when we are sharing energy and when we have these world meditation days. What happens to the physical bodies of all the human beings and different people on the planet? It is a powerful universal law, universal concept. And when you understand this law, you'll see how you can change the world. Even if you're not someone that invents things, right? You'll see how you can change the world, okay? Listen, it is always a pleasure to share time and space with every single one of you. Anytime I get an opportunity to teach, I do not take it lightly. And I hope that if you're watching this, even if you're catching the replay, that you got something out of this that will help you shift your life immediately. Immediately. Have an incredible night, everybody. Love and light to every single one of you. Bye.